The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine?
You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine.
Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Ask the Treksperts. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
Today we're going to do a review of an Enterprise episode, Season 3, an episode called Chosen Realm. And this episode was requested by Magpie2541, who says that this is his favorite episode.
Favorite episode
of Season 3. Actually, I think he said it was his favorite episode of Enterprise.
Well, you know, I can see that. I can see somebody taking this episode and saying, this is it for me.
Well,
because
absolutely true.
Actually, when the show was first on,
It doesn't have a great deal of competition, is the thing.
Well, that's true.
I mean, you know, we'll make no bones about, and we've talked about this. We'll make no bones about the fact that Enterprise ain't our favorite thing in the universe. Overall, it's got its major problems, but every now and again, it's got that episode, and I can see that for people. For Chosen Realm being one of those that makes them...
Well, like I said, when the show was first on, that was my favorite Enterprise episode.
Mm-hmm.
After going back on it, rewatching it, I can't say it is my favorite anymore, but I guess we'll talk about that.
Let's get into what the episode actually is about, for those of you that don't speak episode title. And Chosen Realm is an episode that's kind of in that halfway point in Season 3, right?
Yes.
That's just before my least favorite episode, right?
No,
or is it just
right
after?
It's
Carpenter
right
Street,
after Carpenter
which is just... I hate that episode. Anyway,
and it's right before the big run of all this indie stuff.
When you get into the fun stuff like Harbinger and things like
exactly.
that. So in Chosen Realm, they run into a like religious cult of people who worship the Sphere Builders, and of course don't entirely understand what's going on with the Delphic Expanse, and really no one at this point does. Sure. And so everybody's got their own theories, and these people have made a religion around it, which is immediately interesting. And I think that's one of the things that makes people really jump into it, because it's a really interesting idea. And so you know, there's these spheres, and they see them as like sacred temples of the Sphere Builders who are building them, and so they see Enterprise come up on one, and they actually land on it and research it and stuff, and that's like blasphemy and evil and bad and stuff. And also, of course, they want to steal the Enterprise to make war on their enemies. Your classic Star Trek morality play, and we can talk about whether or not that's working, but that's what it's trying to do on a relevant, recent type topic. And keep in mind that this would have been 2003, and so this would have been just 2 years after September 11th, and it's obviously an episode that's all about terrorism, and specifically suicide bombers.
Sure, because once they're on the Enterprise, they threaten Archer that they're going to blow themselves up. They have this compound in their blood. Of
course, they try to go for a sci-fi way to do it.
Yeah.
Which I give them props for.
Yeah.
They're not just you know trying to blow up the place with bombs.
Yeah, with normal weapons. The problem that I have with this episode now, looking back, is that a lot of the elements in it are very interesting, very fascinating, but they don't really make much sense if you think about them too hard.
Right. It's one of those things that conceptually is maybe a decent idea, unless you're too preachy with it. And of course, that's always
the danger with the morality play. But I don't know. The thing
but then
is,
you have to decide if it works on execution.
Yeah. You called this group of people a religious cult, and the problem is
because that's how I see them, but they're really not, and they ought to be.
That's kind of how they are portrayed in the episode, except that their entire planet is based on this religion. Yeah. And so...
Because there's apparently... So there's like a war between the religious people and then like the...
Well, the people who... What they said that it took the creators 10 days to make the Expanse, or
right.
I don't remember.
Or whatever it
but
was,
like,
right.
they were just off by like a day. It was just kind of a trivial...
They had
dispute.
to break off and go make their own church.
Exactly. And so, of course, they had to be destroyed.
Right.
Because they were heretics. But...
So the leader of this group is called Digimon, who
DJ Man.
Sarah likes to affectionately refer to as DJ Man, and so DJ Man's a weird character.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's just some lazy writing going on in this episode. Because they're trying to have this guy have too many goals, in my opinion. What he tells Archer at the beginning, before he starts his crazy blow up everybody plan, is they're on a pilgrimage to one of the spheres.
Yes.
And I think it would have been a better episode if that was the case. If they were just on a pilgrimage and they just got angry with Archer because he defiled a sphere.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And then maybe they they have this whole plot where well, you're unbelievers and this is heresy, this is wrong, and so we now have the right to confiscate your vessel or to blow up your vessel or to steal it or whatever they feel like they have the right to do. But instead, I think they felt like they had to make it too big. And so now it can't just be that. It's also got to be we're doing this big religious war thing.
Okay, so you have a problem with them confiscating the vessel in order to go back and save their planet.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't like that. I think it's trying to do too many things at once myself. That was the part that wasn't working for me because they're also being all deceitful and stuff.
Yeah. See, that part didn't work. I mean, didn't bother me quite so much. The part that bothered me was just sort of the inconsistencies within their religion, and also the fact that their entire planet believes in it is kind of in the background, even though that's the main focus of the episode.
It's supposed to be the thrust, but it's not working.
It's so weird because you think of these people as okay, they're on their own. Except they're not.
You're right. Yeah, they do act really culty, and yet apparently there's thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah.
I just think that as a story, it would have been better if it was more of what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Of course, I hate to rewrite an episode. I mean, you have to talk about things in the way that of what it was trying to do, and I recognize that. But at first I thought that's where they were going, and then it wasn't. So that was distracting for me. But if you're going to try to do an episode that's making a point about something like September 11th, it has to be a war.
Yeah.
So I guess there's that. There's that there. But anyway, so DJ Man has got this thing where he's acting like a cult leader, even though he's not. And there's that whole fiasco with this little subplot that's in the middle of all this with the woman who's pregnant.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was. Like she didn't want to have the baby.
Well, she didn't want the baby to have to grow up and fight in Digimon's war.
War, right?
And that was the whole reason.
That was the whole thing there. And so you've got different people. My point is you've got different people in this following him who aren't really buying into what he's selling, except that that's the mainstream
of their society.
Yeah.
That's the mainstream thought. And
so that's not working because the episode is treating him like he came up with it practically.
Yeah.
And I would have liked him to have been more of a cult leader and that not be the mainstream of their society. Because I felt a vibe of that kind of thing going on.
They needed to do one or the other.
One or the other, yeah.
It was either the mainstream portion of their society and they all bought into it, and maybe the guy wasn't quite such a zealot, but then maybe the holy war concept wouldn't have worked so well, especially since the people on their planet just had this simple theological difference.
Right.
I don't know. It just didn't quite mesh.
It didn't feel real in that way, I think is what we're getting at ultimately.
Yeah, but there are certainly elements in the episode that work very well and that are very fun. The one part, I mean, for me, one of the highlights of the episode was executing Archer by means of transporter.
Right. They pretend like the transporter is actually an execution device, and they say that that's how they get rid of like hazardous materials.
Yeah. That was clever. I loved it.
That was TOS clever.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, and that's what I liked about it. And you don't see Archer get to do those kinds of bluffs.
Yeah.
That was a Kirk type bluff.
It certainly was. And how many times did Kirk have to retake his ship?
And it was done in such a way where I bought it, at least to a point, because these weren't real high-tech kind of people, so they might not have ever run into transporter technology. So I sort of kind of bought it. Digimon and Archer had some really interesting
They
scenes
did.
together.
They had some really good scenes.
They had good guy, bad guy type chemistry going on.
Yeah, where Digimon was so convinced he was right, and then Archer was trying to be, an influence for logic and reason, and say, hey, we can work this out. I mean, where are you coming from? Trying to figure him out, but they each thought they were right.
Right.
And they really played off of each other well. And they just had good chemistry. The one scene that was just cringeworthy in a good way was when Digimon just pushes the delete button. And all their information is collected.
You do have to kind of wonder how he knew how to delete something on alien
and how
computers, but whatever.
It was that easy to do, and how he could do it all that fast.
All that fast, yeah.
And there wouldn't be backups somewhere.
But still, it was cool. Yeah, because
they spend this entire the first half of the season, collecting all this information. It's so important to them, trying to figure out where the Zindi are.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, this is against our religion, so you can't have this.
Yeah.
And he pushes the button.
Yeah. And the look on Archer's face is just...
Bacula is certainly not the best captain. But he's working hard in this episode.
Yeah,
and
this
he's
episode
better than he is in other places.
Archer episode.
It is a good Archer episode. I'd say one of the other difficult parts about this episode for me is that they stole the ending from a TOS episode.
Yeah.
And they really stole it from Let This Be Your Last Battlefield, which is the other Trek episode that is doing something similar to what this one is.
Right.
And so at the end, of course, spoiler warning, but at the end when they get to the Trianon's planet, and the war has ripped apart the whole society. Everybody's dead.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened at the end of Let This Be Your Last Battlefield.
Right. The themes are actually very similar.
Well, the message is the same.
And the message is the same. Where you go over war and you just keep at it, you don't let up, you're just going to ruin your society.
If you can't learn how to compromise.
Yeah, everyone will die. Yeah. There is no stopping the war if you can't compromise.
And honestly, I guess it's still a good message, and it is. And I'm not upset that they used the same message. It's just that the ending was just straight from that episode. I guess is the only reason that I'm complaining about it.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't know. Let That Be Your Last Battlefield is one of my favorite TOS episodes, except for the hallway chase sequence. But that's just funny.
It's just one of those things where when you so blatantly rip something off,
they could have had the same lesson, but like slightly different way of going about it. I mean, there are other episodes that pattern themselves off of previous episodes, like TNG episodes.
They don't end
TOS,
exactly the
but
same
they don't.
way.
Yeah, they don't completely rip it off.
So, and honestly, if you've never seen Battlefield, then it's a good ending.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it works. It's just I'm a TOS fan, so it doesn't work for me. Yeah, I've seen it. Well, what do you rate it ultimately?
It's a hard episode for me to rate. When the first time I saw it on TV, I would have given it a 4. I just loved it. I ate it up. But I wasn't much of a Trekkie then. I hadn't seen very much.
Yeah, you had just gotten started.
Probably 3 months earlier, I saw my first episode.
And that was certainly your first Enterprise.
Yes. Now going back to it after seeing all of Enterprise, I'd say probably a 3. It still is very enjoyable. I like to go back and watch it a lot, but I can't quite rank it up there with the best of the best.
Yeah, for Enterprise, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give it a 3 as well for Enterprise. I think if I were to rate it more on a scale of like all of Star Trek, it'd probably be a little bit more of a 2.5. But I think it is a good episode for Enterprise. And it's one of those things where I really think it could have been quite a bit better, and I think that the writing is just a little bit lazy in places, and I feel like they're not giving their audience enough credit sometimes.
Yeah.
Where they're trying so hard to make you realize, oh, we're talking about terrorism. No, it's cool, we get it. And that's part of the problem I got with it.
At that time, everyone was talking about terrorism.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, season 3 in some places feels like 24 in Star Trek, so...
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thanks a lot for watching Ask the Treksperts. Let us know what you thought of Chosen Realm if you've seen it. And also, if there's anything you'd like us to review in the future, or a topic you'd like us to discuss on Ask the Treksperts, please put that in the comments as well. And thanks a lot for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
We'll see you again next time.
Think of what you're saying. You can get it wrong and still you think that it's alright. Think of what I'm saying. We can work it out and get it straight. Or